cats and kittens, and thanks for tuning in to another special episode of the Monkey Boy Presents, where I give you the third and final of my wish lists, the top 10 special edition figures that I wish had been included in the DC Comics superhero collection by Eaglemoss. These are figures that I just think would have been fun to have included. Like the other two top 10 lists, the villains and heroes, we will have some honorable mentions first, followed by my top 10 special editions. And it's a mix of heroes and villains, some obscure, some not so much, and the basis for these was that the special editions, in my opinion, need to be the bigger characters, larger in size and scale, that would tower over other heroes or villains, and that just wouldn't be done justice in the regular figure series, the smaller figures, the like 3 3/4 inch. These should be more hulking and larger, like the special editions, the majority of the special editions that we got. And while this list is a top 10, there's actually 11 because I couldn't decide who I wanted for the number 1 spot. It came down to a tie between two characters that I felt equally as strong about, but we'll get there when we get there. So, let's take a look at the honorable mentions, and then I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy my top 10 special edition figures that I think should have been part of the DC Comics superhero collection by Eaglemoss. Honorable mentions. Diving right into an obscure villain, this is one of the Legion of Superheroes' deadliest nemeses. His name is Validus. He is from the 31st century, super strong, capable of flight, immune to telepathy, and a pretty interesting villain, but very obscure. I don't know how many people would really know who he is, which is why he's only in my honorable mentions and didn't quite make it into the top 10. The biggest reason why I left Amazo out of the top 10 is he's not always super huge and hulking in size. He has appeared that way in the comic books and in the animated movies and cartoon shows from time to time, and other times he appears as a normal-sized humanoid character. So he could have been a villain or he could have been a special edition. If it were up to me, he would have been a special edition, which is why he's only on my honorable mentions list. The first villain the Metal Men ever went up against in the comic books, Chemo, is a walking science experiment gone wrong. A big plastic humanoid tank filled with chemicals and nuclear waste and that sort of thing. A big walking nuclear bomb, basically, a mindless one at that. An interesting looking character, which is why he would have been cool to have as a special edition, especially because he's huge. But mostly there's not much to him, not the most interesting villain, which is why he's only an honorable mention. The one character that very nearly made it onto my top 10 list, the Ultra Humanite, is a very cool-looking character, really unique. I think he would have been a great-looking figure. The only reason I hesitated was because we already got one supersized, super-powered gorilla in the collection in the form of Gorilla Grodd, and some people do tend to get these two characters confused. He's a brilliant scientist who transferred his brain into the body of a mutated albino gorilla so he could be his own bodyguard, and he actually was the first supervillain to take on Superman in the comic books. He even predates Lex Luthor. So interesting, but not quite there for my top 10. Number 10. The alien known as Despero is a tyrannical ruler from the planet Kalinor, and in addition to being an intellectual genius, he has a third eye in the middle of his forehead that gives him mind control powers, he can create illusions, he has telekinesis and telepathic abilities. He also is super strong to the point where he can stand toe-to-toe against the likes of Superman and Captain Marvel. A really unique looking character. I love everything about him, the coloration, and you could have done a lot of things with him in a figure form. Number 9. There have actually been 3 different villains in DC Comics to call themselves Prometheus. My favorite, and I think the well-known, is the second version of Prometheus pictured here. He's the exact opposite of Batman. He is the son of 2 hippie criminals who committed murder and mayhem in the DCU, and he witnessed them being gunned down by law enforcement, and at that time vowed to annihilate the forces of justice in the DCU. He, like Batman, trained himself mentally and physically and uses a cache of different weapons and technology to defeat good in all of its forms. A really awesome looking character who would have benefited from the special edition treatment because he could have had that really bulky armor, the helmet. I think he would have been a great addition to the special editions. Number 8. Mongol is the ruler of War World, a space empire where he entertains the citizens with gladiatorial games. He's also responsible for the destruction of Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern's home city of Coast City, during the reign of the Superman storyline, when Superman was thought dead at the hands of Doomsday. If that's not enough reason to include him in the series, I don't know what is. He's also gigantic in size, a very hulking and imposing figure, totally worthy of the size and scale that comes along with the special editions, and for those reasons and many others, I think it would have been great to include him in this line. Number 7. This piece would have been a 2-for-1, because you cannot have Monsieur Mallah without the Brain. Not only are they criminal partners, they're also romantic partners at that. The Brain was once a brilliant geneticist who lost his body, but before that, and being transferred into his little robotic tin can, he did experiments on animals to raise their IQ level and make them better, faster, stronger, the best of those being Monsieur Mallah, who eventually became his bodyguard and boyfriend. They have gone up against the Metal Men, they've formed the Brotherhood of Evil together, and I think it would have been a really unique and awesome looking piece to have either Mallah carrying the Brain, or perhaps the Brain standing next to or in front of Mallah, while Mallah has one of his many huge automatic weapons drawn. A really unique pair of characters that could have been a great addition to this collection. Number 6. An evil new god from the planet Apocalypse, Steppenwolf is actually Darkseid's uncle. He is also part of Darkseid's elite and the general of the armies of Apocalypse. On top of that, he's nearly immortal, has superhuman strength, speed, endurance, and reflexes, is a highly talented military leader and strategist, and has had a number of different and dynamic looks in the comic books, giving the creators of the collection a wide range of looks to choose from for this figure had they made him into a figure. He's very large in size. I like his newest version, the armored, horned, helmeted look. I think that would have been great to have on the shelf because he is very large and very imposing. Number 5. One of Superman's greatest threats in the DC Comics is the villain known as Parasite. Now, there have been many different interpretations of Parasite, different characters have been this villain, but the one thing that stays the same is they all have the same ability, and that is to temporarily absorb the energy, knowledge, and superpowers from another being simply by touching them, which is why he is such a formidable adversary against Superman. One touch, and he can drain Superman of his powers, getting stronger for himself and weakening the Man of Steel. A really cool-looking character. I dig the purple skin and the different takes on the armor. He can be really huge and hulking, or like this melty-looking creature type thing, so lots of different interpretations. Another figure that I think would have been a great addition to this line, and definitely worthy of the special edition treatment. Number 4. A semi-obscure villain, unless you're familiar with the Hawkman comic books, where he is one of Hawkman's nastiest foes. He is an archaeologist who touches a stone and becomes a were-lion, a half-man, half-lion hybrid. He keeps his intelligence but gains superhuman strength, reflexes, agility, that sort of thing. He would have been a great dynamic figure to have on the shelf. He would have been huge and hulking with that mane and the tail and the ripped pants and maybe the big claws drawn, ready to pounce at Hawkman and attack. I think he would have been a great addition to this line. Number 3. The god of war himself, Ares, straight from the pages of the Wonder Woman comic books. He is a big part of her origin story if you're not familiar with that. He's going to be a part of the upcoming movie, which I'm really looking forward to, and I'm really surprised he wasn't included in this collection to begin with. I'm shocked he didn't make it, but he should have been here. He is huge in size and scale. His blue armor is really wicked looking. I love the Roman influence in the design of the character all around. He would have been huge, imposing, and that black helmet, you could have had those red eyes just glowing underneath there. It would have been a great looking figure on the shelf, and I'm still upset he wasn't a part of this collection. Number 2. We finally have a hero on the list. There are very few heroes that are special editions in the regular collection, and unfortunately my wish list here is not very different. Barbara Gordon, aka Oracle, would have been a great addition to the collection as Oracle because it would have been the perfect opportunity to put Barbara in her wheelchair with her computer systems all around her, maybe work the Oracle logo that she uses as her alias onto it somehow. She is an amazing character, now an information broker to the DC heroes at large, helping them hack into any system or find information on whatever they need. It would have been a great addition to include her. I really wish they would have done it, and that's why she's my number 2 choice. Number 1B. Another evil new god hailing from the planet Apocalypse, Kalibak is the firstborn son of Darkseid, one of the most legendary warriors on his planet of Apocalypse, and serves as Darkseid's second in command most of the time. He also possesses incredibly high levels of superhuman strength, endurance, durability, and despite his size and the way he looks, he's actually really fast and very agile too. He stood toe-to-toe against Superman and Orion on numerous occasions, and I just think he would have made a dynamic figure, big and hulking and nasty looking, standing next to his father Darkseid on the shelf, so we had another evil new god. If I could have one more evil new god, Kalibak would be my choice. Really wicked figure that I wish had been included. Number 1A. If I could have had one more special edition figure in this collection, it would have been Stripe, narrowly edging out Kalibak. It's almost too close to call, but I wanted one more hero as opposed to one more villain if I could get my way. Stripe, of course, is the code name for the suit that Pat Dugan built. Pat Dugan is the stepfather of Stargirl, and once upon a time they were a dynamic duo of sorts called Star and Stripes. And Stripe stands for Special Tactics Robotic Integrated Power Enhancer. And when Pat wears the suit, it gives him near invulnerability, super strength, he can fly, he has ballistic weapons and utilities, he is sort of an Iron Man in a sense. They were a great team. It would have been awesome to have Stripe standing behind or beside Stargirl on the shelf because they were a great duo, and I just think if there had been one more figure for the special editions in this collection, Stripe should have been given that spot. So there you have it, everyone, my top 10 special edition figures that I think should have been included in the DC Comics superhero collection by Eaglemoss, my wish list if you will. If you liked the video, please click the like button below to help support this channel, and let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. Sound off below. Tell me of any special edition figures that you think would have been nice additions to this line. There are tons of characters, I know. I've even thought of a few since I put this video together and thought, why didn't I include them? But you know, you can't do that. You'll just keep going and going on forever. Also, as I mentioned in previous videos, one of the characters in this list was turned into a figure as part of the chess collection that's out right now. They've made Parasite into a figure, and like I've said in previous videos already, I might pick him up and do a review on some of these additional characters because I really do like them. I wish they had been included, and I won't hold it against them that they're part of the chess collection and not part of this collection. Anyway, please stay tuned to the channel. I'll be doing some different things, possibly another collection besides the chess collection that I am entertaining. It is an Eaglemoss collection, but I'm not ready to let that cat out of the bag just yet. There's also the possibility that I may go in a completely different direction with other figures and toys and that sort of thing, but you'll have to wait and see. And remember, as always, I am your host, the Monkey Boy, aka Jay to his friends. Thanks for watching.